going on, people? Welcome back to Funway.
Hello, and welcome back to Funnelheads, and today we're going to be grading and reviewing the Carnival Pride. If you weren't aware, we just got off this ship recently. We spent 18 wonderful nights on there, and today we are going to give you our personal opinion about the ship overall. We're going to be breaking it down into different categories, grading each category, and then giving it an overall grade at the end of the video. Now, the categories that we're going to be going over is, of course, the ship overall, the food venues and its service, the drink venues and its service, as well as the entertainment on board. Now, if there's something that we don't go over in this video, you have a question about, just put it in the comment section below and I will be sure to answer any questions that you might have. Now, if you're new to the channel or returning and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, becoming part of our Funnelhead family. We'd absolutely love to have you. Liking, commenting, sharing with family and friends really helps the channel grow, and we certainly appreciate it. But let's get right into today's video. Now, the first category that we're going to discuss is the ship overall, as well as the layout of the ship. Now, this ship is very well taken care of and super clean throughout. We were super impressed. Now, of course, it just came back from dry dock, and if you don't know what dry dock is, that's just basically, you know, the ship is out for either repairs or updates. In this case, it was mostly updates to the ship. They did include Bonsai Sushi, which is a specialty restaurant now located off the atrium. They also did a refresh in the gym and spa areas, replacing, you know, a lot of chairs, equipment, things of that nature. They replaced a good amount of carpet throughout. The paint, of course, on the outside of the ship, giving it that beautiful blue color to match the rest of the Carnival fleet. They also added the Adventure Store, which is just another kind of like souvenir store, although they do have some really unique items in there. One thing that we love to purchase in this store is a beach blanket. We live near the beach, so we're going to be using that a lot in the coming months. And finally, one of the last things that they added was they actually removed the bar in the casino, which was a little bit of a negative positive, because they removed it in order to put new slot machines and, you know, more tables, things of that nature. But not having the bar, you know, if you're a drinker or just want a refreshment, is definitely an issue on this ship. More on that later. Now, the layout of this ship is actually one of our favorites across the entire fleet. We love the layout of this ship. It's very easy to find everything, and really, even if you're cruising for the first time, you know, it might take a day or two, but it is very easy to get around and kind of figure out where you are and where you need to go on this specific ship compared to some other Carnival ships in the fleet. Now, believe it or not, this is actually considered now a mid-size ship in the cruise industry, which is actually also what we prefer. You know, there's definitely less lines, a lot more room as far as, you know, deck space, chairs and venues and things of that nature. You get much more intimate experience on a size ship like this, you know, compared to some of the XL class ships. Now, some of our favorite spots on board this beautiful ship is going to be, again, the main atrium, where you can grab a drink, maybe meet a crew member, another guest, you know, listen to some live music. They also host a lot of different events in that area. Serenity, which is going to be the adults only area for pool time, you know, hot tub, your own bar, fantastic area to grab a nap, maybe read a book. We also really enjoyed Alchemy, where they kind of mix your own drink. Of course, they have their own set of drinks that you can pick from, but the best thing to do at Alchemy is just tell the master mixologist what you like and what you don't like, and they will make you your very own custom, beautiful drink. More on that in just a little bit. Now, also on board, one of our favorite spots is going to be the rebranded Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse. Now, I highly recommend that you try this at least once during your cruise. Kind of treat yourself. It does cost additional, of course. Now, if you don't want to splurge, that's okay. Just walk through this beautiful area. This is going to be located inside of the funnel, the iconic symbol for Carnival Cruise Line, and it is translucent glass, so once the sun kind of hits it just right, the whole room glows this beautiful beautiful pinkish red glow. Really romantic if you're trying to have, a romantic maybe early dinner or something like that. Or again, even just a walk through when, it's not open is really spectacular. And the last area that we really loved going to almost on a daily basis was going to be the main Lido deck. Now on the Spirit class on this ship, it is very unique because they do have what's considered a retractable roof. So technically, depending on where you're going, if you're going to, let's say, the Caribbean, the retractable roof is going to be open 99% of the time because of course it's hot out. Now if you do get, bad weather or whatnot, they can close half of the Lido deck so you can still enjoy, the dance floor, the pool, those areas, which is really unique to some of these ships. You can also find this on other Spirit class ships, but when we sailed to like Alaska and Iceland, they closed the first half, the entire cruise, and it was still warm enough where the kids could swim and you could kind of hang out and talk to people. So definitely a positive. We absolutely love the layout. Now, after saying all of those positive things, there's really only one thing in regards to the ship layout or the ship overall that needs to be changed at some point, and that is the dated appearance of some of the areas on the ship. Like the atrium, for example, most of the atrium is absolutely beautiful, but when you walk in, they have these couches and these like long candles that you would like think of in an old horror movie. That's just one example, but there are many examples throughout this ship where just the interior design is dark and kind of dated, but if you can get past that, then it's really not a big deal whatsoever. It's more funny than anything. The other thing that I can think of is kind of going with that same theme. Like I said, in dry dock they did add quite a few different venues, and the venues are great. I absolutely love Bonsai Sushi, Adventure Store, all of the different things that they added. However, they don't really fit because the ship is so dated, and dark in a lot of those different areas. Like, for example, Bonsai Sushi is located right off the atrium, like the main lobby when you walk in, and it goes from like dark and dated to like super modern in the same room. So yeah, again, it's not a huge thing, but it is something that, maybe they want to look at in the future once they do another dry dock. So worth noting, more funny than anything. Did it ruin our cruise? Absolutely not. We had an amazing time, but it is worth noting. Now the grade for this ship overall is going to be a B+. There are so many more positives than negatives in regards to this beautiful ship, and we absolutely loved being on it. Now the next category that we're going to discuss is going to be the food venues on board the Carnival Pride. Now again, this is a mid-size ship, so it doesn't have as many food venues as some of the other larger or rebranded ships in the Carnival fleet. However, there are a lot of options, and let's go over some of them. Now first up, we have the Mermaid Lido Buffet, and I gotta be honest, on every Carnival ship, the buffet has been somewhat average at best, and that is no different on the Carnival Pride. There's definitely a lot of options there. However, a lot of the food is repeating, especially when you're on the ship, for an extended period of time. The food is very bland, and usually it comes out kind of lukewarm, not very hot, so there can definitely be improvements in the buffet. Now moving on to the main dining room on board, and the main dining room was actually quite good throughout our entire cruise. There was a couple of plates here and there that were hit or miss, but I think that was more so of us leaving from Dover in the UK. Some of the meats and cheeses and things of that nature were just a little bit different from what we were accustomed to, so it wasn't a big deal. However, there were a couple of dishes that came out kind of on the cold side or more warm than hot, which again is a little bit of an issue. But the service in the dining room was amazing. I mean, we had your time dining, and we requested to sit with the same servers each and every night that we went to the dining room. They were so wonderful. They took care of Rhett, sung, danced. I mean, we had such great conversations conversations with them. So, service on board a Carnival, ship like this is always going to be just A plus as far as that goes. Now let's discuss specialty dining on board, and it was incredible. We did eat at a couple of different specialty dinings on board this ship, and each one of them was spectacular. The one night we had bonsai sushi, and we actually spoke to the hostess beforehand to see if we could bring a pizza into the restaurant, so that way Rhett can join us for dinner. They absolutely said yes, and they were willing to get it for us, and we're like, no, we'll get it, and then we'll come down and we'll sit. So it was really a great experience. Bonsai sushi on the ship is always fresh. It's really inexpensive. I mean, we ended up getting the boat for two, and it was more than enough food. Actually, Rhett, little man, ended up trying some of the rolls as well, and he enjoyed them. But it's just a nice way to treat yourself. It's in and out very quickly. You can get in and out in the bonsai sushi restaurant under an hour, without even trying. So a great way if there's like a show or something that you really want to see, another alternative to kind of eat and have a great meal at that. We also ended up eating at Fahrenheit 555, which again was the rebrand on this ship, located in the iconic funnel, and this one was actually free for us because it was a milestone cruise for Michelle. It was her 25th Carnival cruise, so we ended up treating ourselves with our free meal in the specialty steakhouse. Food was wonderful, so unique. The presentation was really good, service incredible, but even better is just the venue. Again, we talked about this a little bit in the ship layout and things of that nature, but the venue itself is just breathtaking, and we were lucky enough to eat there where we did actually get a sunset when we were on our way back from Iceland. So just seeing the sunset, on top of the ship was just breathtakingly beautiful. So I highly recommend that you splurge on this specialty restaurant just for the venue itself. You will not be disappointed. Another specialty restaurant that we went to, it was the Dr. Seuss breakfast. Again, highly recommend. Very cheap. They did increase the price. It used to be $5 per person. I think it's like $7 or $8 per person. But again, food is very good. Some of it's very sugary, but you can find, of course, different options, create different omelets. But, you have character time in Dr. Seuss. Everything's Dr. Seuss theme. And, of course, the crew sing and dance towards the end. You get to meet all of the characters dressed up. So a great time with kids. Without kids is still good as well. So again, highly recommend doing it, and it is very inexpensive as far as food goes. Now the last food venues I want to discuss is going to be some of the other free options on board, which are always an amazing time. Of course, you've got the Blue Iguana Cantina for breakfast and lunch. You can get your burritos, your taco salad, tacos, things of that nature. You can put all different spices on it, customize it, a great meal, whenever. Of course, the deli always hits just right. I always love the spicy buffalo chicken without the tomato jam, and then just get a side of hot sauce on the side. Or buffalo sauce, I should say. Amazing with the fries. It hits the spot every single time. One thing for lunch that they had at the buffet that I really enjoyed as well was the Chinese food option. I think it's called chop suey on board. Each day completely different, of course very similar because it's Chinese food, and what they have is limited, but they have the rice, the noodles, broccoli, meats, all that good stuff, and all of the great sauces. So I did enjoy that quite a bit on board. And last but not least, let's discuss Guy's Burger. Now, Guy's Burger on board was rather good. Again, we left from Dover in the UK, so the meat was definitely different as well as the buns, but it was still very good. It had the Guy's components there, especially with, the sauces and toppings. French fries were very good. So across the board, food was good. Now, last but not least, I wanted to discuss the seafood market on board. Unfortunately, I didn't get to eat there on this sailing. However, I have ate there before. Usually it's one of my must, things to do, but we just didn't have time on this cruise, unfortunately. We were so busy with tours and things of that nature. And unfortunately, Michelle doesn't like seafood, so it's usually a night where she's already full. She had like a late lunch or something, and then I kind of just splurge on myself. But it just didn't work out. It's no big deal, but it is always a good time. The prices change as far as the the seafood prices. It's kind of like market prices, pretty inexpensive compared to paying those prices at home as far as what certain types of seafood would go for, but definitely recommend doing that as well. Now, the grade that we're going to have to give the food venues is going to be a C+. Now, don't get us wrong, the food was mostly very good on board and lots of different, food venues to eat at. However, when you compare it to some of the other Carnival ships, it is missing a ton. Just to name a few off the top of my head, you have, Big Chicken, Gigi's Asian Kitchen, Cucina del Capitano, Pig and Anchor, Smokehouse Brewhouse, just to name a handful. So with that being said, we'll have to go with C+. Now, moving right along, let's discuss the drink venues on board and give them a grade. Starting off with Alchemy Bar, which is one of our favorite spots. Again, we mentioned that in the ship layout, but a great area, especially on this ship. It is very large compared to some other Carnival ships. The drinks are absolutely wonderful. They can take a while to create, but in our opinion, they are absolutely worth it. Typically they have 2 or 3 master mixologists working at a time, but each drink takes, probably 3 to 5 minutes on average to build, especially, if they're doing a custom drink, where they're asking you, questions, what you like, what you don't like, and they're making you a very specific drink catered to your taste. So it can take a while, but again, we absolutely love it there. They also have live music in this Alchemy Bar, which is definitely a plus, and just tons of room to talk to, other guests and crew members. So one of our favorite spots on board. Now, you can't talk of drink venues on a Carnival ship without bringing up the Red Frog Rum Bar and the Blue Iguana Tequila Bar. We are totally team Red Frog Rum Bar. Let me know in the comment section below what side you are on. But we are always sitting, if we're on the Lido deck, somewhere near the Red Frog Rum Bar, sipping on cruisers and Red Frog, or Red Remedy, Red Frog. You know what I mean. It's one of those drinks. Yeah, both classic bars. We absolutely love, sitting there talking to the crew. They always have runners coming up. Service is always amazing, and they have great, different drink variations at each one of those venues. Like, for example, if you love tequila, they have a Blues Blue margarita that I am told is to die for. I'm just not a margarita guy. I really wanted to be. It's just not happening, so I gave up. But yeah, if you love margaritas, that is definitely the place to go. Now, moving along, we have the Piano Bar on board, which again is another one of our favorite places to go in the evening or late evening. It's great to just grab a drink, listen to, the musician play, have some laughs, talk to the other guests. The only downside about the Piano Bar is it can be rather slow, especially if there's a big crowd. On this ship, considering our itinerary, there was only one employee basically bartending for the entire venue, which made it definitely difficult, but we understood, and we actually would just go to a different venue, grab a drink, and then make sure we had a drink when we sat down, so that way we weren't waiting a very long time. So you just got to kind of adapt a little bit. Moving from there, right downstairs you have the Red Frog Pub, which is different from the Red Frog Rum Bar. Very similar name, but the pub is again one of our favorite spots. This one is actually one of our favorite ones where we bring Little Man in, because they usually have like a band ensemble playing variety different of music. They also have lots of different games in there, whether it's darts, shuffleboard. They also have cornhole located in there. So lots of different activities that we can play with with Rhett while, having a drink and listening to live music. Always a great time. Now, the drink venues that we didn't really care for and we really would have loved to is the Heroes Tribute Bar. They rebranded that. I actually forgot to mention that in the beginning of the video, but they rebranded it from the Skyline Sports Bar or Sky Bar, something like that. They rebranded it from that to the Heroes Tribute Sports Bar, and love the concept. It looked amazing there, honoring veterans and military servicemen and women, but there was nobody ever in this bar. I feel like they need something to bring people in. Of course, this is where they have, live sports games, so there wasn't really live sports going on when we were cruising, so that may have been it. But I feel like if there was maybe like live music in there when there isn't live sports going on, it would really get, more people to come in. Honestly, we would go there a lot of times to grab a drink because we knew it would be dead, and then move to another, venue to listen to live music. So a little bit of a tidbit or advice: if you want to get a drink real quick, just go to the Heroes Tribute Sports Bar and then go to your destination. But would have loved this area, would have loved to hang out in there a lot more. And like I said, we were on this ship for 18 nights and we probably only spent maybe 20 minutes in that bar the entirety of those 18 days. And lastly, this was a bar venue, but they had removed it during dry dock, and it was very controversial even on our cruise, and that is the casino bar. It is no more. They turned the casino bar into more slot machines and to include more tables in the middle of the casino, which is a good thing. But not having a casino bar, you don't get the people to interact with each other. Of course, the drinks are coming out a lot slower because more people need a drink from runners. The runners are going to Heroes Tribute Sports Bar to grab the drinks or in the back, and it just takes forever. So that was definitely a downside. We're not huge, gamblers, but every now and then when we're in the casino, when little man's at camp or whatnot, and we want a drink, it takes a long time for them to come. So just be prepared that it is going to take a while to get your drink in the Carnival Pride Casino. So with taking all of that in consideration, we're gonna have to go with a B- for the grade for the drink venues. Overall, wonderful experience, great service, great drinks, but it can always be better, right? Now moving on to the last category that we're going to discuss, and that is the entertainment on board the Carnival Pride. And I've got to be honest, it was fantastic on board this ship. So many different options. We're going to go through some of them. If we went through all of them, we'd literally be here all day. But main theater, the playlist productions, as well as the Broadway style shows were fantastic. We watched quite a few of those. We had some of the best seats in the house because little man ended up getting VIP entertainment seats for the entirety of the cruise. So we definitely took advantage of that, and little man absolutely loved it. He probably loved it more than we did, which was really cool. They had actually America Got Talent, like a juggling comedian act, really funny, fantastic. They had a magician on board, so lots of different variety in the main showroom. Of course, you have your deck parties on board, whether it's the 90s rock and glow, the 80s mega deck party, the white night. All of that was incredible. Frankie, the cruise director, if you've never sailed with him before, he is fantastic. He talked to us and interacted with us so much on board. Him and Rhett were like best friends. He actually ended up going to camp when Rhett was there, so that way he could play Mario Kart with him. We got a picture of him carrying him or giving him a piggyback ride on board in camp the one night. Just an incredible guy. If you ever get the chance to cruise with Frankie, I highly recommend you doing it. He's actually on board the Carnival Pride for his next contract as well, so I'll try to post the cruise director schedule here. So if you are happening to sail on the Pride and you have Frankie, you'll have to tell him hello and then boop. But yeah, he's amazing. His whole, staff as well, like all the crew members, the entertainment squad. Of course, a lot of these people will change, in and out. Of course, they have different contracts, so you might not have the same people. But, everybody that we interact with that was in the Fun Squad or that was under Frankie, they had such wonderful things to say about him. They all referred to him as like their dad, so it's really funny to see. But yeah, they did amazing. All of the different entertainment that they provided, whether it was the deck parties, trivia, different competitions between the guests, all were fantastic. Then you had the live music throughout this ship, whether it was in the Alchemy Bar, you had different musicians in the atrium, the Red Frog Pub, as well as the Lido deck and the nightclub. Typically you'd have the DJ sometimes on the Lido deck and the nightclub, and then usually like steel drums during the day on the Lido deck, which is one of our favorite, types of music to listen to, especially while on vacation. Also, the stand-up comedy on board was very good. We had several different stand-up comedians over the course of the 18 nights. Some of them had repeating acts, but every 2 nights they would change either acts or people, which always kept it really fresh and great. And then also in the main theater, they had our favorite show, which is the Love and Marriage show. If you've never seen this, if you've been on a Carnival ship before and you've never seen it, you are missing out. It is one of our favorite shows to go to. But the last thing that popped into my head is Family Feud. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get it on our sailing, but actually Frankie, the next sailing, the cruise director, traveled somewhere else to actually train for Family Feud, so that will be on the ship. If it's not already, it's coming very, very soon. So Family Feud is always hilarious, and with the cruise directors and guests on board, it is even better. So highly recommend you checking that out as well. Overall, the grade for the entertainment is absolutely going to be an A+. Fantastic. So many different options. If you are bored, it is your own fault. Sorry. But that is the grades for the different categories. And overall, our personal grade for this ship is going to be a solid B. So many different things to do. So much fun to be had. Of course, things could always be a little bit better, but if you're like us, you're not going to let the little things affect or ruin your vacation that you've been, saving so much money for, you've been counting down for so much time. Don't let it ruin it. If it's something really important, you take care of it after vacation if you can. I mean, some things you have to deal with right then and there. But that is it for the review of the Carnival Pride. If you have questions in regards to anything that we didn't discuss, again, I'm sure we missed quite a bit of things in this video that you want more information about, or, just information period. So definitely put a question in the comment section if you want me to expand on anything. I will be happy to do so. Hopefully we'll see you right back here in the next video or on a cruise ship one day. Catch you later.